All right, so cranium, line the cylinder with the horseshoe cheekbones. Oh, I forgot the line for the cheekbone there. Nasal cavity, line for the mouth, and the brow ridge. Right, so just, and if it helps, grab this Photoshop file of the images and trace over it so that you kind of simplify the thing sort of as a pre-plan. Right, so if we go down over here, we can have the egg shape, and the center line is going to be something like this. It's more towards this way than it is towards the center. So we're going to make sure that we have an emphasis kind of turning the head that way. And we're going to just draw that line straight down. And if here is the center line in perspective of the cranium, we have that sort of midway here. That's about where we're going to have the jaw start. And we're going to stop it somewhere over here to kind of imply where the mandible is. So horseshoe shape, up, cylindrical form. And we're going to have just a curve for the cheekbone, the C shape for the cranium between the cheekbone on the zygomatic arch, and another C shape over here for where the eye is. And the nose forward like that. And then the brow ridge. And if you understand these forms through repetition, you'll find yourself when you're painting these skulls with lighting and color and bounce light and all that stuff, you become a little bit more intuitive with it rather than trying to, really struggle and figure it out each time. Zoom in. And we're just going to do a very loose, quick indication of the skull here. And another, trick to remember for the eye sockets, they look like aviator sunglasses. So, very easy. Just going to fill that in, fill this in. The curve for the zygomatic area. The cheek won't stick out a little bit here. Paint in that shadow real quick. And let's not forget that little subtle brow ridge. Now, I should also mention that this skull doesn't represent everybody's skull. There's a lot of variance depending on the age, the gender, or place of origin, ethnicity. A lot of things come into play in terms of what shapes you'll see. And for example, let's merge that down. This is, I believe, I think it's a male skull, judging by the proportions. If it was a female skull, the orbitals, or the eye sockets, let's go ahead and let's make a copy first. Compared to the male skull, the eye sockets actually stayed the same size relative to everything else. But for the female skull, everything else will... Why is it doing that? Let's move that to the center. Everything else kind of shrinks around the eye sockets. And it's a very subtle shift, but that's how you kind of indicate more of a feminine appearance for your design. And don't take my word for it. Grab a bunch of images of male and female examples, models, photos, and do a sketch of the skull on top of them and try to find out where the eye sockets are, and then take the sketches of those skulls and overlay them. And notice that if you resize the eye sockets to be the same, relatively speaking, you'll notice that kind of discrepancy that I showed here.